Summer vacation meant Dera. The thought filled me with a familiar thrill. The moment school closed for the summer, I would pack my bags, eager to escape the city heat. Dera, with its cool breezes and misty mountains, promised respite and adventure. My grandmother lived in a small cottage on the outskirts of town. I would spend my days exploring the hillside, chasing butterflies, and reading books under the shade of the old oak tree. Each summer in Dera was a new chapter in my childhood, filled with simple joys and unforgettable experiences. The journey to Dera was an adventure in itself. I would board the night train from Delhi, the platform bustling with families and fellow travelers. The rhythmic clatter of the train lulled me to sleep. I would wake up to the sight of the sun rising over fields of wheat, painting the sky in hues of orange and gold. The air was thick with anticipation, a promise whispered on the wind. Dera awaited, and with it, the promise of another unforgettable summer. The train journey was a constant. Year after year, I found myself on the same route, watching the world fly by. The familiar clatter of the tracks, the scent of coal smoke, and the rhythmic sway of the carriage felt like coming home. I loved peering out of the window, watching the landscape transform from concrete jungle to verdant fields. Villages flashed by, each a world of its own. I would imagine the lives of the people who lived there, their stories unfolding under the vast, indifferent sky. As night fell, the train would rumble through forests. The air grew cooler, carrying the scent of pine and earth. I would snuggle into my berth, listening to the rhythmic chugging of the engine as it pulled us through the darkness. Sometimes the train would halt at obscure stations, their names barely illuminated on faded signboards. These brief stops, shrouded in mystery, fueled my imagination. Who were these people who lived in these forgotten corners of the world? What stories did their lives hold? These were the questions that kept me company as I drifted off to sleep, the promise of Dera growing stronger with each passing mile. Among these forgotten stations was Deholi, a small, sleepy town where the train halted for 10 minutes. It was a brief respite in the long journey, a chance to stretch my legs and breathe in the fresh air. The platform at Deholi was always deserted, except for a lone vendor selling tea and biscuits. The station building was old and dilapidated, its paint peeling under the harsh sun. A single lamppost cast an orange glow, illuminating the platform in a pool of light. Despite its desolate appearance, there was a strange allure to Deholi. It was like stepping back in time, a place untouched by the rush of the outside world. The silence was broken only by the chirping of crickets and the distant barking of dogs. The air was thick with the scent of wildflowers and damp earth. Deholi was a place of quiet beauty, its charm hidden in its simplicity. It was during one such stop at Deholi that I first saw her. She was standing at the edge of the platform, her silhouette framed against the setting sun. She couldn't have been older than me, a slender figure with long dark hair. She carried a basket woven from cane, filled with brightly colored trinkets and toys. Her eyes, large and expressive, held a hint of shyness as she looked at the passengers alighting from the train. There was something captivating about her, a quiet grace that drew me in. Perhaps it was her eyes, which seemed to hold 1,000 untold stories. Or maybe it was the way she carried herself, a quiet dignity that belied her age. I couldn't help but feel drawn to her, this mysterious girl who appeared at Deholi station as if a figment of my imagination. Section 5. A fleeting connection. We didn't speak, not in the conventional sense, but in the shared silence our eyes met. It was a brief encounter, a fleeting moment in time, yet it felt as if time stood still. I was captivated by her presence, the innocence in her eyes, the shy smile that played on her lips. She extended a hand, offering me a small clay bird from her basket. I hesitated for a moment, unsure of what to do. I finally took the bird, its smooth surface cool against my palm. It was a simple gesture, yet it felt profound. In that instant, a connection was forged, unspoken yet undeniable. As the train started to move, I looked back at her, a silent promise hanging in the air. I knew I would see her again. Deholi, once an insignificant stop on my journey, had become a beacon, a place I longed to return to. The following summer, I found myself waiting with bated breath as the train pulled into Deholi station. The familiar sights and smells welcomed me back, but my eyes searched for one person. And there she was, standing at the same spot, her basket filled with trinkets, her gaze fixed on the arriving train. Our eyes met across the platform, and this time, a smile lit up her face. Once again, we didn't speak, but the silence was no longer awkward. It was comfortable, familiar. She handed me a small, delicate bracelet made of colorful beads, her fingers brushing against mine. I accepted it, my heart pounding in my chest. This time, the train's departure felt different. It was as if I was leaving a part of myself behind, a part that was inexplicably connected to this girl at Deholi station. The next year, the train journey felt longer, the anticipation more acute. As the train screeched to a halt at Deholi, I scanned the platform, my heart pounding with a mixture of hope and dread. But she wasn't there. The familiar spot at the edge of the platform was empty. Panic surged through me. Where was she? Had she moved on, forgotten about our silent encounters? For the next few stops, I couldn't shake off the feeling of unease. My mind raced with questions. Had something happened to her? Was she safe? I desperately wanted to ask someone, anyone, if they knew about the girl with the baskets. But the language barrier and the fleeting nature of our encounters held me back. I was left with a void, an emptiness that lingered long after the train had left Deholi station behind. As the years passed, I continued to travel to Dehra every summer, and every year the train would stop at Deholi, a stark reminder of the girl with the baskets. I never saw her again. The memory of her slowly faded, like a dream slowly receding from consciousness. But she remained, a whisper in the wind, a fleeting vision etched in my memory. Deholi station, once a place of anticipation and excitement, became a bittersweet reminder of what could have been. It taught me about the fleeting nature of life, the ephemeral connections we make along the way. Some encounters, no matter how brief, leave an enduring mark on our souls. Even today, years later, as I travel the world, I still think of her. The girl at Deholi station, forever young, forever etched in my memory. I often wonder about her life, the path she chose, the dreams she chased. Did she ever think of the boy on the train, the one who looked at her with unspoken longing? The girl with the baskets remains an enigma, a mystery I have come to embrace. She represents the beauty of fleeting connections, the unspoken language of the heart. And in the quiet corners of my heart, I cherish the memory of our encounters, a reminder that even in the most unexpected places, we can find moments of magic, moments that stay with us long after they are gone.